This is the 176th Taiku in the Babylonian Talmud. A Taiku is an unresolved and unanswered question in the Babylonian Talmud that tradition has it that we must wait until the Messiah comes. Messiah, the son of David. Elijah the prophet heralds the Messiah, and Elijah the prophet is said to answer all the Taikus. And there's a rabbi who wrote a book. He actually compiled all the Taikus and put them together in one book. And in his introduction, he writes that when we come to Elijah the prophet, and he makes himself available to answer our questions on the Talmud, these unanswered questions, he won't tell us the question. We need to have the question, and we get to ask the question. And I thought that was such a good point, because we need to be prepared with the question, and then we can get an answer. So that was one of his premises in his introduction in the book, where he says that we should know the questions so that we can get the answers. And this is Rabbi Aharon Yehoshua Pessin, I think from Ramat Beit Shemesh. And I first heard about this book, it was right around the beginning of this Daf Yomi cycle. It was in Tractate Brachos, in the first Taiku, which was Brachos Ches, page 8a of Brachot, about 2 lines from the bottom, where Rav Papa asks the very first Taiku, which is very interesting because the gematria of Rav Papa is 363, and the gematria of HaMashiach equals 363. I thought that's pretty fascinating that we need to wait until Mashiach to get the answer, and the one who asked the first Taiku actually equals HaMashiach. I thought that was kind of neat. But that's what the tradition says. Now, why Elijah answers the questions and not Mashiach himself, that's my own personal Taiku. But in any case, I started back in June 20th. It was published. It was a Friday. I think I might have recorded it on the 19th, but it was published on the 20th when we started Tractate Avodah Zarah, June 20th of 2025. And started with the first one and went basically one per day. And that takes us to 176 days. Today is the 176th day. It's the 176th Taiku. And I think that's interesting because we're in Bava Basra. What I mean is in the Taikus were in Bava Basra. The 176th Taiku occurs in Tractate Bava Basra, but Bava Basra is the longest tractate, and it has 176. That's the last page number. In truth, it has 175 because it starts at 2. But this 176, I'll still have to find a connection to 146 because Bava Basra 146 is, according to his book, the 176th Taiku. And that's where we're at. And 146a, with the words Iboilahu. Iboilahu mahu shieshale shevach sivlonos mahu kevani isanu lidide hadre brujuse shavuch oidilma kevani avdi o miganvi boi shalomile brujuse lidide shavuch teiku. A dilemma was raised before the sages. Rava states that if the betrothed man ate less than the value of a dinar at his father-in-law's house, and the marriage is not affected, he can collect the presents he sent. What is the halacha concerning whether he must divide the value of the presents and claim only part of the value in proportion to the amount he ate? And what is the halacha concerning the enhancement of the value of the presents? Does one say that since the halacha is that if they are extant, that they are returned to him, Therefore, they were enhanced under his ownership, or perhaps, since the halacha is that if they are lost or stolen, the betrothed woman's family is required to repay him. Therefore, they were enhanced under her ownership. So I think this is going to a long question of enhancements to property, and who they're attributed to when they're under certain people's ownership, and who is that awarded to. And this has been a long discussion up until this point, but this particular question is the 476 Taiku, according to the book, if I copied it down correctly. The Gemara concludes, these dilemmas shall stand unresolved. And may it be soon and in our day.